I'm Dr. David Thomas. I'm a practicing psychotherapist with the Whitford Thomas Group in Tampa, Florida, here to discuss natural alternatives to depression medication. Before we talk about natural alternatives, and there's a number of natural alternatives for depression medication, and I mean, in this day and age with the internet, there's so many companies that sell natural alternatives, homeopathic, natural herbs and all that to in fact affect a mood state. But it's important for you before you begin that process of looking for natural alternatives for depression is to somehow determine what the severity of your depression is. Because if you have a major depression or a bipolar disorder, you're probably going to want to seek out psychiatric assistance initially. Now, you can go to a therapist initially, a cognitive behavior therapist preferably, because it's kind of mainstream psychology, focusing on the thinking that drives the depression. So certainly you could start with that, and then your therapist could refer you to a psychiatrist. But certainly with the severe or major depressions, you don't want to spend a lot of time on a lot of natural alternatives. Quite frankly, it's unlikely that they're going to be potent enough to affect the type of change that you're looking for. So certainly a therapist or psychiatrist for the more major depressions would be helpful. As far as a lesser severe depression at that point, remember thinking drives that. Most people think external factors really affect the depression that we experience, but the perpetrator really is our thoughts. So we want to determine kind of how do I think about myself? How do I think about others? How do I think about the world? And look at, do I think in a much more rational, logical way, or do I tend to think fairly inflexibly with inflexible thinking? Or do I in fact have a lot of rigidity in my thinking and all that too? So in essence, the natural alternatives are good. They'll help you feel better, but they may not help you to get better. Hopefully this information I've shared with you today regarding natural alternatives to depression medication has been helpful. From sunny Tampa, Florida, I'm Dr. David Thomas.